Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whichever applies to you, whatever time zone you're in. This is Thunderhands with the Red Road channel. Today I'm going to do a video on the Merkaba meditation, Orbs, and included in that mix will be UFOs, unidentified flying objects. We're going to stick with that term. There's been a lot of new terms out there. We're also going to talk about psionics. This is a new term that has been coined recently in the, let's say, UFO community, or those that follow what's happening on the world stage right now with appearances of unexplainable phenomenon in the heavens. There's a saying, timing is everything. And I have been holding off on doing this video or this, let's say, podcast, however you're hearing it or viewing it. I have been holding off on doing this for unknown reasons. Usually it's spirit directed, and spirit might tell me to hold off until a more appropriate time. What everybody is talking about right now is aliens, UFOs, UAPs, drones, things appearing in the heavens. And of even more recent times, the subject of consciousness has arisen, and the subject of what they call psionics and being able to communicate with what they call non-human intelligence. Now, within this discussion about contact through, let's say, higher consciousness or meditation, and they have been talking about meditation in general, and this was all based on a recent Ross Coulthart interview with a man named Jake Barber. Jake Barber supposedly is a military contractor that was assigned the task of retrieval of unidentified flying objects. And in his description, he mentioned the fact, and he is a fully certified helicopter pilot. In his description, he described a feeling of feminine energy overcoming him when he was about to do a retrieval on an egg-shaped, unidentified flying object, or identified by that time, I would think. And he expressed, almost in tears, this feminine energy that overcame him and actually was an indwelling, the way he put it, an indwelling. He described it as a possession, but I would say that it was an indwelling and not a possession. That's my take on it. Now, I have been talking about higher consciousness meditation, advanced meditation techniques, trance techniques, let's say like trance drumming, all kinds of things related to being in that higher consciousness or that higher meditative consciousness. And in the past, I have done videos on how to do a Kriya meditation or just a simple meditation or an abdominal breathing meditation or a kundalini rising meditation. All these are advanced techniques that help you get into a certain frequency or a certain higher state of consciousness. Now, I wrote a book, probably less than a year ago, which is on Amazon, which I will put the links to. And it's really just, it's not like a full-fledged book, although it's a bestseller out of all my books. It's more like a flashcard indexed enclosed within a book with many illustrations. And the name of the book is Merkaba Meditation and How to Create Your Own Space Vehicle. Now, what does that mean, create your own space vehicle? Well, it's all based on several ancient meditational practices, kind of combined, and this was first revealed to the general public, I believe, by Drunvalo Melchizedek, who was a shaman and a person that is deeply into mystery schools, sacred geometry, things of that nature. Now, this meditation has to do directly with creating an orb, with creating your own space vehicle, and being, let's say, encapsulated within that space vehicle. Now, as people are observing orbs right now in the cosmos, this is the same thing. These are orbs of consciousness. Only they are orbs that are appearing to us as entities, or let's say spiritual emanations of the connection between the Earth Mother and Sky Father. Or let's say it would be best described in simpler terms as the Star Nation. Before I go any further, let me show you a picture of the cover of this book or this manual. And here it is, Merkaba Meditation, How to Access Your Light Body and Create Your Own Space Vehicle, by yours truly. So I thought I would just give you a brief glimpse of this. And if you're listening to this in a podcast, I will include pictures along with the podcast, like let's say on my Substack channel. Now, to give you a glimpse of one of the illustrations in my book, and I have put this illustration on the screen now without instructions, but this is one of several illustrations or flashcards that you would use in this Merkaba meditation. I'll leave this up on the screen for a while as I talk. Now, a lot of people think that, when you're hearing these people that are talking about psionics and talking about being able to communicate, or let's say summon orbs or UFOs, they call it alien space vehicles. When they talk about this, they talk about being in a certain state of consciousness, like it's real easy to get into that state of consciousness. It's not real easy, folks. I've been meditating Since 1986, I was initiated into Kriya Yoga from the lineage of Babaji, and have been meditating and practicing the Kriya technique and other techniques that are similar as far as being able to raise your frequency. Now, what are these other techniques I practice? Well, they're the circulation of the microcosmic orbit, which is very similar to the Kriya technique, where you move energy, and that's what Kriya means, movement of energy. When you move energy up and down your spine, keeping the spine erect, of course, so that this can happen more easily. But it is a very advanced, very esoteric meditation, as is the Taoist meditation of circulation of the microcosmic orbit. This is to raise your frequency or your consciousness into a state of enlightenment, or let's say an alternate consciousness. Now, this is very similar to the same thing that Castaneda talked about in his writings. He referred to the spirit as the Nagual, and he referred to accessing alternate realities. And this was done by various methods familiar to shamans. And let me say at this point, when you have been initiated into Kriya Yoga and have been practicing as long as I have, or let's say anybody has for that length of time, you realize that a lot of things are connected, say like shamanism. Shamanism is accessing different realities, alternate realities. Well, when you do Kriya, when you do circulation of the microcosmic orbit, this is something that you evolve into. That is the whole point of ancient Hindu tradition. And terms like samadhi and purusha, which means your higher self or your higher state of consciousness, these are areas that we are trying to access as meditators and practicing yogis or practicing shamans. These are areas that we are trying to access. Now, when you access these areas, it's a process. And it is a process of raising energy or prana or chi from the base chakra, which is not pictured here, but it is down where you see my arrow, between the legs. The base chakra is red, and then you have the second chakra up, which is orange. Here is shown a golden orb which emanates from this chakra, the second and third chakras, and actually the heart chakras and all your chakras, energy centers, chakras, 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 energy centers. And then there is the crown chakra up here. Now, this Merkaba meditation is based on ancient Hindu practices, encompassed into what is called the Merkaba. And why is it called the Merkaba? Because it is based on the orb power source. And the orb power source is none other than in your light body you have a star tetrahedron. a spinning star tetrahedron. Now with the Merkaba meditation, I have another illustration from my book without instructions, just the illustration. These illustrations are accompanied by a frame which has instructions around the frame at the top and the bottom as to how to proceed with this meditation. So here we have an activation of the Merkaba, and when you activate the Merkaba, it flows out from one of these energy centers 50 feet or more, depending, and looks like a UFO. You have the dome here, and you have the extension, which you can't see here, but you can see here, extending out, just as people have observed spacecraft or UFOs and that type of thing. Now, doing these type of meditations puts you in touch with the cosmos. It puts you in touch with your own cosmos within or around you. It's really kind of funny, and I don't mean to belittle people or make fun of people, but it's really funny when you hear all this banter, about, oh, we're just going to change our consciousness and we're just going to summon the Star Nation down here, and they're just going to appear right in front of us and they're going to visit us. And well, that's entirely possible. Yes, it is. So I'm not saying that, but what I am saying, it's not easy as people think. You might be able to, let's say, hook up to somebody else in a group of people and have a group consciousness where you were actually able to see certain things. That's possible. But the more important thing here is you being of that consciousness in order to connect with the Star Nation. And the way that you do that is you become part of the Star Nation. I cannot emphasize this enough. We are all parts of the Star Nation. The universe is inside of us as well as outside. The universe and the stars and the cosmos and the planets and the galaxies are all inside of you as much as they are outside. As within, so without. As without, so within. So this Merkaba meditation is based on, like I said before, ancient practices going thousands and thousands of years back. And most of these practices were in fact disseminated to the gurus or holy men, and in the indigenous culture they would be called Wuya or Kachinas, the Star Nation, the Yeis, were part of this whole thing. So this is all connected. Ancient traditions in India, ancient traditions in, let's say, Egypt, ancient traditions in the native indigenous culture of North America. These things are all related. The heavens, the stars, Orion's belt. What meditation does is help you to be able to access and commune with and feel, actually feel, like Jake Barber described, and presence. A presence would be a great way, an energetic presence that permeates your being. A hybrid, master, let's say immortal, spiritual entity that comes and presents itself into your aura, and you have union with it. There is a union going on. And that's exactly what yoga means, union. So I think that, like I said before, the timing of this video or podcast is very relevant right now. And I have been thinking about doing this a lot. My book is out there already. But I haven't really talked about it too much on social media. But I think the time might be right for that, because if people really want to go to that level of enlightenment, and this, make no mistake about this is about levels of consciousness, enlightenment. That's what this is about. And many ancient sages, like Babaji and Abhina Navagupta, from centuries ago, were into this being able to contact this Shakti, which is another term for this feminine energy. It is the Shakti energy. So you have Shiva, which is the male figure in Hindu mythology. You have Shiva as a god, and then you have Shakti as a goddess, his consort, his lover. But on a metaphysical level, this is none other than Grandfather Sky and Grandmother Earth, or Father Sky and Mother Earth. And it is a union of the two. It is a consciousness of the two that really is just an activation, or let's say a birthing process of the cosmos. I have called it a divine marriage, or a divine lovers on the metaphysical level. This is all contained within you as well. Now, in the Merkaba meditation, well, let me go to another illustration here real quick. Here we have a rendering of what I was talking about earlier. Now, this painting pictures Abhina Navagupta, who is a real ancient sage and yogi that taught Shaivism, or the connection between, like I mentioned earlier, the goddess energy, Shakti, and the god energy, Shiva. And now here we have a depiction of him being surrounded in an orb-like aura, projecting from his third eye to another orb-like situation here, or depiction. And within that, you have, move this over there, you have Shakti. You have a picture of Shakti. Now, Shakti comes in many forms. Many goddesses are embodied within the Shakti energy. And some of these are Lakshmi, Kali, Sundari, and there's about 10 main goddesses, but they're all just different aspects. But the thing I want to emphasize here is consciousness meditative consciousness, raising your vibrational energy, again, up through the spine, opening the different energy centers. And the top energy center, again, is the crown chakra. Now, the Hopi say, and they have secret societies for this, that the way you talk to the star nation or to the creator or to the spiritual entities is through the door to the top of your head. And by this door, they meant the crown chakra. Now let me jump real quick to the emblem or the illustration of this channel. What do you see here? You see a circle. You have the red road prayer circle or meditation circle. Prayer and meditation are very closely related, if not one. Just different ways of doing it. But true prayer is a meditation. But in this symbol, you have the orb, and you have the indigenous person, native, walking the red road here. And you have smaller orbs on each side of these orbs, which represent the directions. So this would be west, black, north, red, east, yellow, rising sun here, white, spiritual realms. I just thought I'd throw that up for a minute so you would realize what this channel is all about. Not only is it about the indigenous people of this land, the Star Nation, but it is really about higher consciousness and the practices and the connection and the communion and the oneness of the people of the Star Nation with the Star Nation. So getting back to the Merkaba meditation, Drunvalo himself was a reincarnation, so he says, of an indigenous person from one of the pueblos, ancient pueblos in New Mexico. And he does teach sacred geometry and the toroidal effect around the heart and the heart center, and he is very much in tune and very much in touch with the Star Nation and the Star Brothers. So he developed a certain meditation which was described many times by many different people, but it seemed complicated. And so I, as a practicing shaman and yogi and meditator, decided to take that meditation and simplify it down into an illustration or several illustrations along with minimal text, and incorporate and explain all the different things that Drunvalo incorporated, but just to try to make it a little bit easier to understand. And so, if you're really into wanting to raise your consciousness, I think this might be a good place to start. Although, like I say, it's very advanced and complicated, and but I boiled it down and tried to make it simpler. But it does incorporate breathing techniques, abdominal breathing techniques, movement of energy, hand mudras, which are like this. This is the hand mudra that you would use along with others. hand positions, different breathing techniques, different visualizations, all to invoke this spiritual energy, this spiritual presence known as Shakti. It's funny that I look at these people on coming forward right now, and they're talking about the feminine. It was just a feminine presence, and they really don't know what it is. This is kind of like a spontaneous awakening, or what they call Shaktiput, of different people that are experiencing things that can be triggered. I'm not saying that you can't have an instant spiritual awakening and that you can't communicate, or that you can't do this or that you can't do that unless you practice for as long as I have, years and years, and other meditators. Because there are ways, and this is like one of the ways. Just by looking at the cards in this book, or this flash deck that is in a book, just by looking at the illustrations in it, will evoke the same kind of spiritual feelings that might be evoked if you were looking at a yantra. A yantra is something that is a pattern that evokes certain feelings and energy flows by doing a meditation on it. This is from the Hindu tradition. You have many yantras, and it might be likened to, let's say, a sand painting of the Navajo tradition, or a sand painting, or any kind of, let's say, sacred geometry type depiction, all right? And a sand painting is exactly that, only with many things thrown in. It's designed to get to your third eye, or let's say this chakra right here between your third eye. Open that energy center, and then in conjunction with the crown chakra, give you some insight or a connection to the star nation. So you have the hand mudras included in this Merkaba meditation, and you have the yantras, or the illustrations, included, and then you also have breathing techniques, which in Hindu mythology is called pranayama, which is the same as chi, energy of the universe, moving through your spine, through a specific breathing technique. These things are all incorporated in a very short, thin manual or book of instructions on how to do this. This is available at Amazon. I will put the link to the book in the show notes below. Now here's another thing. I have made a video, a different video, not this video. I have made an instructional video, which I have described in part today in this video. I have made an instructional video over an hour long, or it might even be an hour and a half, called the Merkaba meditation, which is a companion to the book. So you can get that video, description or instruction, and I will put that. I can't put that link, come to think of it. The only way that you can get that link is if you email me, and we arrange that you make a donation of what the cost of the book is. So the book has a certain cost to it. I think it's around $10, and then the video will be somewhere around that same price. And if you would like to get further information on that, you should go into the show notes, look at my email, click on it, or copy and paste it into your email provider and contact me, rogerthunderhands@gmail.com, and I will make arrangements or send you a link for the donation. And as soon as I get the donation, I will send you a link for the book itself in the I might just include the book and the video together. How about that? So for $20, I guess I could include the book and the video together and send you links to both. A link to the PDF copy of the book and a link to the video of the book. Well worth it if you are serious, if you're truly serious about raising your consciousness to that psionic level. This is a term that has just come out, psionics. I don't know where it came from. I haven't researched it in depth. But it is just another name, okay? It's just another label in this seemingly, let's say, energetic information that's being projected at you on an energetic and on a consciousness level with this whole UFO phenomenon and this whole orb spotting and this whole wondering what's going on in the universe. There is a major paradigm shift going on in the universe. Magnetic anomalies, appearances in heaven. So, one other thing that is very important about this Merkaba meditation, having your own space vehicle or your own egg-shaped, oval-shaped protection, because when you get into the meditation you find out, I've just scratched the surface here. You're not going to find out how to do it unless you go to the links I mentioned. Email me. It's a swirling, inner geometric form that you start spinning yourself. You start it spinning through meditation. And it is comprised of the male tetrahedron and the female tetrahedron, when combined together, rotating in certain directions, activates the space vehicle, the Merkaba, the orb. Now, when you do this, you are part of the star nation. You have no problems being able to traverse certain realms, and not only that, it heals you. It disperses all negative energy, and it actually takes commands just like you would program a crystal. So I've just scratched the surface here on this, but I thought that this was a good time to present this video and clear some of the misconceptions actually about this whole thing. This is not about mechanized technology, or let's say integrated, mechanized, whatever you want to think of as a space vehicle, this is a space vehicle on a metaphysical, spiritual level. Which, if you're seeing anything out there that is not from this earth, man-made technology, that's what you're seeing. And if you want to become a part of that, I'm offering it to you. If you don't, well, that's fine too. But a lot of people are finding this version of the Merkaba meditation very, very interesting and a lot easier to do through practice than the original description of it. So I'll leave it there today, and wish you having a good day and good energy, and I'd appreciate it if you would subscribe and like this video, and I'll leave it there. This is Roger Thunderhands saying Wopila Aho.